Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I recently went to Academy the other day and got to do a little bit of shopping for my tackle for the upcoming season. Kind of want to show you the tackle haul that I came up with. So a few of the things that I needed were some baby brush hogs. So I went out first and I tried to find some baby brush hogs. And again, my favorite colors are just regular old black and blue and Okeechobee crawl. But they didn't have those two colors in the baby brush hogs, and the closest I could come up to with that color is watermelon candy red and black sapphire. And while these colors are fairly close to Okeechobee crawl and black and blue, they're just not exactly what I wanted to do. They're not exactly what I wanted, so I went back just a few days later and found some different baits that I'm excited to try. Now, I've never really tried a Googan bait before, but the Googan baits seem to be taking over at least the academy in my town. The Googan baits are taking over all the space. I mean, like, they have like a huge deal of soft plastics, and then everybody else is getting cut down to a smaller and smaller size. So, and they had the two colors that I wanted. They had Okeechobee crawl, and they had black and blue. And these are basically a knockoff or their version of a baby brush hog. So it's just a little creature bait, looks kind of like that. Let's see if I can get it up there. It's just kind of their version of creature bait, looks like that. I mean, it's just another iteration of the baby brush hog is what it is. So I think it'll be fine for me to use. It looks fine. And again, the most important thing is they have the two colors that I like. They have some really nice packaging. I'll give them that for these Googan baits. And we're going to give them a shot this year and see what we think about them. But again, I got this, what's it called? The trench hog. And I got the Okeechobee crawl in the black and blue. So those look pretty good. And then when I was out there, I started kind of looking around at the other baits that they had, and saw some of their pitching crawls. What's it called? Bonito bug is what they call it. And I kind of wanted to take a look at those too. You know, because you're always looking for new stuff. And I got a couple of packets of these too as well. Okeechobee crawl, black and blue, just like my other ones. And it's just a nice little flat flipping bait that I'm sure will be really good to use. And what I like about that, it has a thinner body, and you can really get a nice hook set with that little bit thinner body. So those are the worms and stuff, the flipping baits that I got. I also got some hooks. Over all my years of fishing experience, I've come back to and have decided that just the offset wide gap hook is the best. Like this one, I use Owner. I just happen to like those the best. I got a 3/0, a 4/0, and a 5/0, and I just really do like the offset wide gap hook, kind of a straight shank. The extra wide gap hook, like a flipping hook, I seem to lose a lot of fish on those, so I like these straight shank ones a lot better. And so that's what I want to try to be fishing with this year. Got one crankbait, which is a record for me just to get one crankbait. It's pretty good. And it's just it's a Fritz side, which is just a flat side crankbait. And I really do like flat side square bills in the early spring part of the year. And this is red crawl, which would be perfect for that. So I'm excited to go out and fish this one. Of course, my favorite flat side ever is the Little John, and I fished it forever. I have the same one forever. I just want to try a different one. I will be interested to see how these are cast. So the flat side ones are hard to get one that you can cast real good, and especially in the Oklahoma wind. So we'll see how this one works out. But I'm liking the looks of the paint job. And again, that flat sided crankbait in the early spring seems to be better than just a regular flat bill. I got some line. I got some just standard P-line CX Premium, just a good standard all around line, tough as nails, a really good one. Also got Suffix Pro Mix in 14 pound. I've never really tried this before, so I thought it was just like $4 or $4 or $5. So I thought, well, I might as well give it a shot and see if I like it or not, because it's not bad. And then I got some trilene. I haven't seen trilene on the shelves at Academy in a while. And this is what I really started off with fishing fluorocarbon with, and it's really just my favorite fluorocarbon line. This and a Vizix is pretty much all I use, but I haven't been able to find this. So I went ahead and picked up some 12-pound version, which is what I fish my jerkbaits on. And we'll go into a little bit of jerkbaits while we're here. Since we're talking about, I'm gonna have to redo my jerkbait rod, put some more line on it. So let's talk about the rod that I use. It's a 6'4", it's a specific all-star rod specifically designed for jerkbaits, but any 6 to 6.5 foot medium to medium light action rod will be good for jerkbaits. You just got to make sure, two important things to look for when you're searching for a jerkbait rod. You want to have lots of tip, lots of bend in the tip, because those the hooks for the jerkbaits are super duper small, and it's really easy to a fish to make a sudden surge and jerk away from you or get off. So you want a lot of good tip in that, and also let you cast it really well. Another thing that I look for is a short handle, because you're going to be doing a lot of jerking and working the bait, and you want that short handle so it won't get in your way when you're working the bait. So that's it for a jerkbait rod. Now, as far as jerkbaits themselves, this is one of the baits that I'll absolutely spend more money on, because one, you're not going to be fishing in a lot of places, you're going to be losing a lot of them, and they're just, I found that the more expensive baits are easier to cast in the wind. In Oklahoma, it gets super windy and you need something that you can cast. So, I mean, some of my favorites are just the old pointer from Lucky Craft. I have a whole box full of them here, but you know, you have the old oldie but goodie with the Smithwick suspended Rogue, but I tend to stay away from the Smithwicks. They still catch plenty of fish, I mean, don't get me wrong, but they are just really hard to cast if it's a little bit windy. So I try to stay away from those and try to steer, have more of the more expensive models in my box, simply because they cast better, and that's really the only reason. They probably do suspend a little bit better as well. So we're going to take you out to the pool and kind of run through some retrieves and stuff. One of the main mistakes that I used to make when I started off fishing a jerkbait was that I would always start my cast off or my retrieve too fast. So most of the time, I'm fishing this on a rock bank, maybe like a 45-degree rock bank. And then I cast my bait up there and I work it away from the rocks way too fast. So you always want to start off, especially this time of year, one of the very first times you'll go fishing in the spring, when the water's still super cold, is you want to make sure that you start your retrieve off super slow. So you might throw it out there and let it sit for a minute, and then give it a light tug like that. And that'll get it started sinking or working down a little bit. Then you can let it suspend where it is. But you always want to start off just a little bit slow, especially in the early spring. You want to make sure that you start your retrieve extra slow. Now, some of the best retrieves that I've seen on a jerkbait that I've seen to use, you really just have to vary it up, because the fish will want something different from day to day. But I try to work faster and then work my way to slow, because if I can catch fish using a faster retrieve, I want to try that. So I might throw it out there like that, let it sit, and then try to work a little faster retrieve. Like that. Now, if that doesn't work, I'll just keep making my retrieve slower and slower and slower until the fish tell me what I want. So you might toss it out there and let it sit for 10, 15, 30 seconds, and then make little slot adjustments as you go. So I always try to start fast, start my retrieves fast, and work it slow until the fish tell me what they want. That's pretty cool. I've never seen actually worked a jerkbait in the pool before, so it's kind of neat to see that what it actually does. So we might do the 1-2 pause, 1-2 pause, 1-2 pause, or you might get it a 1-2-3, 1-2-3 pause, then 1, then 1-2-3, 1, 1-2-3. You just have to vary it until you find what you want. Another good technique, especially in the early spring, instead of doing all that jerking, you can just drag it, which means just drag it, let it set, drag it, let it set, drag it, let it set. That seems to work good in the early spring. You just want, sometimes you just gotta work it super slow, and you always gotta be changing your retrieve until you can, the fish tell you what they want. So those are just some of my basic jerkbait techniques that I like to use. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.